You're going to be very much like you aren't, is what you're saying. Hello, everyone. My name is RJ Redden, and entrepreneurs hire me to burn down marketing practices that are no longer working for them because most have a hell of a time getting traction online. So I create messaging that builds relationships and closes deals. I do that through Facebook Messenger, and you can too, and that's why we have this show. Welcome, Jane Powers. Hello.
Jane Powers in the house. Hey, everybody. This is exciting. I can see comments, I think.
Can you?
If I disappear, it's because I am, like, my technology skills are somewhat challenged.
And, I'll just improv till you come back. It's not a problem at all. I will vamp. It is fine. Darling, tell the world who you are, what you do. Give us the straight details.
I'll give you the, do you want all the details? No, we're keeping this very, very reputable show. RJ does a very serious business. For those of you who do not know me, I am Jane Powers. Entrepreneurs hire me to speak with confidence and sell with authority because most are boring, confusing, and inconsistent, and I'm probably the only one who will tell them. So I help you connect, capture, and close your ideal audience. Bottom line, every time you open your mouth, you make money. Yep. That is who I am in 17.5 seconds.
Yes. And that is very applicable to what we'll be talking about today. So I have spent probably the last week talking to my audience through the show, through my bot, through my podcast about how difficult it is as an entrepreneur and especially as a solopreneur to describe what you do when somebody asks you that horrible, horrible question. So what do you do? Like, okay, so little background on me, and some of you know this. I did technology coaching for a long time. I've just been born going, hey, maybe we could click on this thing instead. I was born doing that. I don't know why. Of course, I had to do it on Oregon Trail back in the day. Anyway, technology coach. Well, but people would ask me what I do, and it would be simpler for me to say, well, what don't I do? I will not do your plumbing. I can't balance a checkbook, but if you need anything with a computer, I can do it. That was my introduction. I had a hell of a time getting business with that. Jane Powers,
really?
Why do you think that was?
I don't know. Did you wear your cape? Did you wear your cape and goggles? Because that would have changed everything.
Perhaps.
And so, just in honor of RJ, this is my cape, but I think I'm just going to wear it as a bib today.
You know what? If you wear yours as a bib, I'll wear mine as a bib.
My cape is bigger than RJ's cape.
It's true.
This thing is like I'm going to put it up for curtains.
Okay.
Like every time we need to remind you, you are your own superhero. Okay.
It's true.
All right. I digress. That's unusual. It's unusual, but we did. We went off topic.
It's okay. It's up to me to bring us back.
That is your job. I love saying hi to people. Look, I'm going to read. So I'm not. You know what? Here's what's hard, and this is very important. As said speaker, professional speaker, over 30 years, it's very important to have eye contact with the audience. Here's the issue. I got a lot of fun things going down here on this comment, and then you have to keep connecting with the audience, and then I want to see RJ. So here's a great tip for when you are on an interview. When you're saying something profound, center stage is that lens. And be careful you don't get crazy eyes. Sometimes I get crazy eyes, like I'll think. And on video, crazy eyes look crazier than when you're thinking. So if you have crazy eyes like I do, because I go, and they try not to do it. And don't comment. No, let's do hashtag crazy eyes.
Crazy eyes.
So I'm surprised you did not get business. That's weird.
Mm-hmm. I tried to market myself as somebody who knew everything under the sun. That way, maybe something that I did would apply to whatever you needed. And that was a tough thing. That was a tough thing to do. Now, then I switched to just doing messenger bots full time. And then I had a whole new problem, because not only do I need to describe to you what I do in a cohesive way that helps you understand who I am, I also need to explain to you what the hell a bot is. And so I struggled there too. You would think that I got in the niche. They all say the riches are in the niches. I got in a niche, and I still struggled with that first. I struggled with that first 17.5 seconds.
Yep.
Because of
and most people do, because most take the very first 5 seconds to say or well, or I do 3 things. Those are my favorite, because a confused mind will not buy. So when they're like, oh, I've got 3 businesses. 1 is a car mechanic. 2 is send out cards. 3 is an astronaut. Like, they couldn't be you can't bring them together. People are going, what are you good at? When you're good at everything, I hate to say this, people think you're good at nothing. Because if they see you as a jack of all trades, as a master of many, what they see is that you are not able to focus. And they don't see it consciously, but unconsciously you're like, I think they'll be too busy.
Yeah.
Or they're confused. If you have 3 things and you don't know which one to introduce, so my recommendation, pick 1 and introduce it. You can have all 3, but if you want to be an astronaut at that networking event, be an astronaut. If you want to be a car mechanic, be a car mechanic. So make sure that you do not confuse your buyers. Be an expert. If you do a number of things, I always say find the umbrella statement that will bring them all together. So find that one umbrella common denominator, common thread that says, like RJ, all things technology. And I mean, you could have easily said that back in the day. And, now if people don't know what a bot is, I'd be surprised. They're not your client. I mean, really just the rock got turned over and they emerged. or they call it a robot.
Yeah. That happened on the ship, baby. Yeah.
We saw that. I just kept turning to RJ because somebody who created robots kept saying that. And I said to RJ, can you create me a robot? Maybe he really created robots.
Well, the trouble was, from his introduction, we couldn't tell what the hell he did.
True. Well,
because he was one of those with so many things.
Yeah, there were 470 people. Again, I'm not naming the event. It was a wonderful event, but there were 470 people. That 450 of them, I still don't know what they do. Mm-hmm. And part of it is you have 30 seconds to introduce yourself. And I'm telling you, people, if you have 30 seconds, make it a whopper. Like you've got to be able to say, I'm an expert. You're screwed. Now buy my stuff. You don't say it like that, though.
Right. Excellent. Okay, I've noticed that people are asking questions.
We insulted sorry, Teresa. That is Kazakowski. I'm the worst with names.
I just call her Teresa because I can't pronounce her last name either. She knows that I know.
Yeah.
That we're
calling her T-Dog right now. T-Dog. She said she didn't know what one was. It's okay.
It's okay.
It's all right.
So we've got a question here. Chris Ann says, what's the difference between a solopreneur and an entrepreneur? So, I mean, for me, solopreneur, 5 or under team members is usually the sweet spot of a solopreneur. They can have regular employees, or they can have like VA type employees or something like that. But for me, once you get over a certain number, then you kind of become an entrepreneur covers everything in the face of the earth. So when I want to be specific, I say solopreneur. But yeah, entrepreneurs is the bigger lens. Do you have anything to say to that one?
The difference between a solopreneur and an entrepreneur is the first one starts with hello. Like, I don't know what here's the truth of the matter. Like, when do you become a small business owner?
Oh, right.
I think it's like potato patata. Like, in my opinion, I say entrepreneur because it sounds like I want friends, and it sounds like I want partners, and it sounds like I want to build an empire. A solopreneur says, hey, I'm willing to go it alone. I'm starting out new here, and right now I don't have any team members. So personally, I'd always say entrepreneur. I would stay away from solopreneur unless you are like, I'm going to kayak across the ocean to, Hawaii. That's a true solopreneur. I'm doing it alone. I don't want anybody supporting me. Entrepreneurs, I believe, say, hey, let's hang out. Let's build empires together. And it doesn't matter how big your business is. So I think perception is everything. Perception is everything. Now, as a real estate, when I was a real estate broker full time, I was pretty much a solopreneur. I had nobody supporting me. So that's a solopreneur, in my opinion. But yeah. I say for perception, go with entrepreneur. That's my final answer.
Okay, that's your final answer. Okay.
I didn't have to call Lifeline, but I have one on ready.
You have more than one. The best one is called a Denise Lifeline. Anyway, very good. So, I mean, and I would partly like to kind of tell my story with you is because, I can't remember when we met. I think it was about May of last year, potentially. I saw you on Aaron Strayer's show, and you were talking about this intromercial. And you were talking about, how to make that happen. And I just happened to have a speaking engagement that night. Now, it wasn't the biggest speaking engagement. It was like a small business owners meetup or something like that. I mean, there were 30 people in the room. But what you said on that broadcast was, it didn't matter whether you're introducing yourself to one person or 30 people or 300 people. You need to come out of the gate with confidence, and you need to believe in what you're saying. And that caught me because it was like that. I recognized this is the trouble with my introduction. So, so how did you, when you were masterminding this 17.5 second intromercial, what was the thought behind it? What prompted all this for you?
It's so funny because I think back and I'm like, I think I had gone on a VIP day. This is many years ago because I was a spiritual life coach, and I was in the Mary Morrissey School of New Thought, and just, everything was about being a leader in spiritual realms. And then, just to tell you a little bit, then I found I was extremely impatient. Like, why are we zenning so long? Like, let's get results while we're zenning. So I remember I came from the spiritual world, and I went from purpose, because I had Living on Purpose was my first big program and brand. I never really had a brand, but it was just what I was doing. And then the next one was Purpose to Profit. So I brought in more of the purpose, the heartfelt, the mission driven, the passion driven. And then I went into Profits. That was the more masculine side. And that's part of the intromercial, has the yin and the yang, the masculine and the feminine, to help you sell, but still be heart-centered, because that's really important. But anyway, so where was I? So here I am. I'm at a VIP day, and they're teaching this formula, I help. And I kept going over like, I help. Now, I came from a nonprofit world. I worked in the prison, drug and alcohol treatment centers. I worked in the community, township, doing prevention work. I was a volunteer. I mean, I was getting paid, but a lot of things that I did, I was a volunteer. And every time I'd say, I help, I felt like a volunteer. And then I thought, people are hiring me. And I said that one time, and I saw a difference when people went, oh, like the light bulb went on. I wasn't a newbie anymore. And I thought, because when I was in real estate, I was brand new. And I had to, years ago, people be like, how long you been doing real estate? And I'm like, oh, feels like forever. I never answer them. And they'd be like, well, how many customers, clients do you have? And I'm like, Can't even count because I didn't have any. So I kept trying to find ways to build credibility. And when I said that, I can't even remember. This is years ago. When I said that, and I went right into coaches, authors, and speakers hire me. When I said that, every head turned. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, write that one down. And then I'll be honest, what I did from there was I took my talk formula that had made me thousands of dollars. I took that formula and picked out the instrumental parts, which is actually the beginning part of your talk. I took that out and put it into a statement that is not only, it has keywords in there that are pattern interrupts in your brain, because we get bored. Oh my God. Like right now, I've just bored your audience to tears. I'm so sorry. I'm going to use a trigger word because, and now your brain goes, why? So I throw the words in there. The words are strategically placed to wake them up. They listen and then wake them up again. But I'll tell you, when I saw people's eyes light up, I felt power. I felt like I'm like, all right, they're listening. So that's for me. I had come from nonprofit and I didn't want to be a nonprofit. So I started putting together a formula and then tested it out on an audience. And actually I did it at a workshop. Jay Facette was there. And you know Jay, everybody knows Jay. And I don't care what anybody says about Jay. I like him. So Jay Facette is there. And I had first met him. This was years and years ago. And I said, what do you do? And he told me, and I went, can I mess with that statement? Just give me like 2 minutes. And he's like, sure, my dear, go right ahead. So I went over, and that's just how Jay talks. I went over and I wrote it out for him. And I said, how about try delivering this to the room? And he did. And he came over to me. He goes, you just made me 6 figures in that one sentence. And that was my test market because Jay was already making millions. Mm-hmm. And I went, okay, this has got some legs. So I just kept feeding it. And then we actually trademarked it. We trademarked INTROmercial because it is that brilliant. Not my brilliance. I'm sure I plugged in things I learned from everybody. Like we are all plagiarizers to a certain degree. We all are.
Certainly. Well, I'll tell you that, that afternoon, I didn't know you from Adam. I thought that I liked you immediately, but I'd never spoken to you. I had that engagement that night, and I had given a talk about what bots are. It's Omaha, Nebraska, people. Things reach us later than everywhere else. Anyway, I had given this talk, and people seemed to like it, and they were kind of vaguely interested in bots, and so I considered it a success. Well, a couple of weeks later, I'm listening to Jane talk about the parts of the INTROmercial, and I'm like, okay, what would mine be just for fun? I'm writing it down. I go to do the talk that night. It's the same talk. I got business out of that night. Awesome. People were more than vague interest in what you seem to be doing over there because it seems vaguely interesting. And it was the difference in their attention level, the difference in how they looked at me, what their posture was. I noticed all these things. It was an incredible difference. And I saw it in my bottom line. And so then when Erin was like, because she's the instigator of all things. Everybody, if you don't know, Erin Strayer, get to know Erin Strayer and watch her show. It's awesome. Anyway, so Erin called a couple of weeks later and says, Jane's doing a thing in Arizona and you need to come with me. And I went, okay, I'll go figure out what she has to say. That right there, it was like the proof is in the pudding always, and there are 1,087 ways to digital domination. And I know that we're all inundated with this kind of information all the time. This is something that really, really works for people. So I want to ask you now, if over the years, how many people do you think that you've helped write something to say when somebody says, what do you do?
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I would say easily into the thousands. And it is because I'm on stages. I find myself, I put myself on every stage I can find, every platform I can find. the wildest thing is I had somebody who contacted me from I think it was the East Coast, it was New York, and they're like, do you know this person? Because I swear they're using your INTROmercial. And I'm like, haven't a clue. And I hear it constantly from all over the place that this is because it's so important, because people are constantly trying to find a way to introduce themselves rather than saying I help or avoiding the question altogether. And it's funny, I just said it, but I wasn't introducing myself. What happens is people think from a perspective of, will this person buy from me, rather than what I want people to say is, that one has a viable business. She's an expert and she gets me. And that's in the INTROmercial. So if you state who hires you, right there, it says I have a viable business. People, entrepreneurs hire me, authors hire me, moms hire me, whatever it is, hire me. That says you have a viable business. Then you move into the holy grail of what you do. You're moving then into the pain points. So if I say many of you are invisible, you're not being heard, you're boring, you're confusing, you're inconsistent, and most are not opting into what you have because your message is not clearly articulated, so it sells. And when I'm pointing out the pain points and poking the bruise of the audience, they're saying, oh my God, you get me only too well. You know what though happens, RJ? Like I have this speaker assessment and we have EmpowerBot who takes you to that. I know, sexy and cool. But anyhow, when they go to the speaker assessment, many people are in denial. If you stand on a stage and you do not at least, depending upon the size of the audience, if you do not close at least 35 or more, the percentage, 35% or more in the room with a free offer. I'm not talking about a paid offer. With a free offer, you are boring, confusing, or inconsistent in your messaging, or you're what I call an overloader. There's so many different things that go wrong in the message. So when people hear that, I've had people go, oh, I am a good speaker. And I'm like, excellent. And I've asked them already what they do. And I'm like, number one, you sound like a volunteer. You're a bit confusing. And they're like, come see me speak, because I might hire you, but I'm not. So I go and I see him speak, and I'm sitting there going, this is tragic, because they believe they're a good speaker. They're losing tons of money. And I have seen people, Jay Facette, another great example. Jay, he makes millions. He was coming back and he called me and he's like, I am screwing up my talk. He had an hour and 15 minutes. He was closing about 5,000. Now, some people would say, I'll want to close $5,000 from stage. Not at the stages when we pay to play into $15,000, $17,000. I want to make a whole lot more than $5,000. So he said, what am I doing? Well, Jay is a classic overloader. He puts everything he can in his talk, the kitchen sink, and then he borrows the neighbor's sink. Yeah. So I rewrote his talk. And this is not a lie. You can ask him. $128,000 he closed in an hour and 15 minutes. It's just positioning yourself as the expert, positioning your material, and then being able to move people into action. And education is great. Inspiration is even better, but inspiration without action is what? Merely entertainment. And we're here to make money. And I don't mean be a slimy salesperson. Be you, be bold, and have people move to their yes. What was my point? Anybody know?
I'm sorry. What was my point? Did anybody know?
Don't even know my point. That was a good story, though.
Well, I know you and Jay pretty well, and I've gotten an opportunity to be with you guys for a while, and looking at the kind of results jump that he had. I'm looking at theater training. I'm looking at, look at this face. Who doesn't want to look at this face? I'm looking at I am extremely entertaining without moving a muscle, darlings. But I was hitting small speaking engagements, and not turning over a thing and going, I would go and I would sit there and wait for my turn to talk. And I'd be like, okay, I hope this isn't a waste of my time again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though I can entertain you all day long, but what I've had to learn is to craft it so that I'm also, and I'm an overloader too. Jay's an overloader because he can speak at 78 miles an hour. That guy, listen hard and turn it on slow, because otherwise you ain't gonna get it. He knows I love him. Anyway, so there, I've learned so many things, but I think that was the key piece of material, was the intromercial, how to write that. And of course, I've rewritten it since then, and it'll probably go through another couple of generations before I really, nail it. But even just doing that one thing and going to a speaking engagement, my results, it wasn't $5,000. I'll tell you that. It was not, but I got results out of that. And I had an audience that was following up with me afterwards.
Yep. Yeah, and that's what you want. And I'll tell you, I've been doing sales over 30 years. I've been doing speaking over 30 years simultaneously. I've been corporate America doing sales training. I have been an area manager in a sales in the employment industry. And I'm a salesperson. I believe my family, we come out of the womb, we're selling something. Like it is in my gene pool. And I was a spiritual life coach, and I used to fill my own room. I'd do half day events, and then I'd sell a package. And I remember my very first one. Inside I'm thinking, oh God, I don't want to do this. I don't want to sell it. I was just like, and I wanted to sell it at 1997. So $2,000. And I'm standing in front of the room and I'm like, oh my God, today we're going to, this is what it looks like. Here's all the benefits. And it's going to be $697. Like it was a question mark. I was like,
I love it when it's a question mark.
And then the whole room, everybody in the room, came to the front of the room. And I'm like, oh, I should have said $797. And so here's the thing. Most people don't realize it takes conditioning our mind. It takes conditioning our confidence to be able to make an offer. It's not these people, you'll see people on stage and they're like, oh, I can sell this and that. And they're throwing all these numbers out. I can guarantee in their minds, there's a conversation going on back here saying, nobody's going to buy that. I don't care how big they are. Or they're saying, get more. It depends upon who you are and how you do it. I know that when I stand in front of an audience, any stage I'm on, I have what I call the transparent, obvious as hell offer. I literally say to people, this is the time I will start selling you. I swear, this is it. If you choose to be on board, excellent. If not, it's okay. And I'm telling you, people come up to me afterwards and they're like, I am so relieved that you're not trying to, throw this manipulative or invisible clothes. Oh my God. I was at an event one time and the guy was selling. He's like, first 12 people stand up. And he was sort of aggressive about it. And nobody stood up. And then he got agitated. And I thought, well, number one, that's the worst close in a small room. And also I've seen people say, stand up if you didn't buy. And people stand up if they didn't buy, and they confront them on why they're not buying. And to me, that's just a shame. That's shame closing. My philosophy is, let's get you on platforms. It could be this. Any type of platform, video, radio, media, stages, podcasts, it doesn't matter. Get you on a platform so that you can then convey your expertise, help the audience see their pain points, their problems, work through the denial, educate them, and then let them make an educated decision to work with you. And that's what my philosophy is. Find your voice, find your power. Because in your power, you could do anything. And I could pull out my cape again to prove that. But it's a true statement. It's, because RJ, what happened? Next thing you know, she's like, yes, I will come to the event with Aaron. I talked to RJ and said, oh my God, I want to shoot you out of a cannon, because if I can take your message and craft it, your business will blow up. And you were on my stage and rocked that stage like nobody's business. Like,
it was insane.
It was insane. And you've never been the same.
Pretty much no. No, I have never been the same. And I mean, it obviously it keeps me coming back for more, because I am, my business is unrecognizable since September. My life is unrecognizable since September. I told my wife in January, I have plans once a month to get on a plane and go to a convention and speak from here until July. And she said, what? Anyway, let's get to a question down in here.
Okay, let's do it.
Jenny Mustafa Julak. Hello. Lovely to see you, my darling. And she has a question. This is great. I understand what you mean by overloaders. What are the other kinds of speaker traps that you see often?
Maybe, Jenny, I should send you to my speaker assessment. No, I'm going to tell you all about it. But here's the deal. Actually, the bot is leading to that, and I think we're like ready and raring to go. So let me tell you a number of different things that happen, and I've made all the mistakes in the world. The first one I would like to share with you, I would highly recommend be careful what type of Spanx you wear on stage. I'm not kidding you. I was new to Spanx, and I was having some Dunlap over, I like to call it. So had some hanging over stuff, and I put Spanx on that went right up to underneath my bra. And it was a huge crowd. I'm behind the curtain. Music is playing. They're like, Jane M. Powers. And I move the curtain and I go out, and my Spanx rolled right into the crevasse that I was trying to hide. So, number one, you can do two things with that. I'm not kidding you. Things will happen on stage. Use it, because the audience loves a human being.
Yeah.
An audience loves a human being. I'll tell you, I started out as a corporate speaker. Actually, I started out speaking in the prisons and drug and alcohol. And so I had quite a tough crowd. Then I went into the corporate gigs, and I was a very polished speaker, and I was a very formal speaker. And one day I accidentally, it was a morning, big, huge sales organization. And one morning I mixed up my words and mashed them together. And I said, when the fart continues, you'll be able to. in my head, that's when that conversation started. One voice said, just keep going, keep going. The other one said, oh my God, you said fart. Like, that's the funniest thing on the planet. And I thought, I can't keep going because I'm going to get the church giggles. So I stopped and I said, I'm not sure what's happening here. Either you people aren't listening to a thing I said, or nobody thinks farts are funny. The room roared, like they all died. And I could hear people saying, we felt bad for you. And I'm like, oh my God. From that point forward, I was never a polished, formal speaker. I'm a memorized speaker. So tip number one, memorize your talk. Memorize your talk. If anybody, like right now, my intromercial, boom, right after, I could do it in my sleep. Memorize your talk, my talk. I hit the stage, I look at my watch, I say 7 seconds. 7 seconds, your mind has made 1,000 computations about me. Am I credible? Am I confident? It's called coding. Coding NYU did a study. I can tell you my whole talk right now. It's memorized. It's the same talk, but I've created a formula that, let's say you have this talk. There's 7 sections to it. You're at a different audience. You take out section 3. And literally, it's section 3 in your talk. You take it out, you insert what relates to the audience. So some of the biggest mistakes are people wing it. Never wing it. Never, ever wing it. I could easily wing it. Like I was on the Aaron Strayer show. Yeah, I know, RJ. Stop it. I was on Aaron's show and Aaron goes, hey, Jane, tell me about that picture behind you. Because I was demonstrating how every single thing when you're on a panel or an interview relate it back to your business. So what happens that I can wing it, but please, when I hit a stage, I am the same talk delivered differently. The reason you don't wing it is because energetically, the mind is looking for content. And the way we're looking for content is watching the audience's reaction. Mm-hmm. You can misread your audience. You can try to deliver to everybody. And I guarantee after that talk, you'll be exhausted, not only energetically, but you will not, energetically, you'll be exhausted and your bank account will be exhausted because you can't close when you wing it. The audience is going all over. The audience needs structure and it needs logistics, as do you. So I'm going to position myself. I'm going to position the audience. I'm going to go through the content. Then I'm going to have the call to action. It has to have structure. So a lot of people will wing it. Another thing people do, they have the imposter syndrome. When you have the imposter syndrome, you can tend to impersonate. So what happens is you'll see a lot of Tony Robbins lookalikes out there, right? They're doing the Tony Robbins clap. They're jumping on stage. They're sweating. They're like doing the whole Tony Robbins thing, or they're Brendan Burchard, or for my case, I was Mary Morrissey. Mary Morrissey, a former minister, wore a suit, very polished, would say things like the green growing edge of your becoming. I was delivering that talk, and it was so not me.
No, and it wasn't.
It's so close, but not. And so the other thing, this is the biggest thing most everybody will encounter, almost everybody, I can almost guarantee it, overloaders. You provide so much information, and the reason we do that, it's somewhat related to the imposter. You don't want to be found out to be inadequate, not credible, no value. So you overload to make sure you serve. And quite frankly, when you overload, you're a disservice to your audience because it's too much. They'll do two things. One, they will say, I got it. I can do it on my own. Two, they're a deer in headlights. They'll freeze and not do anything. And you've actually put them back a step or two. So any of you overloaders, I think, was it Jeannie who said she was an overloader? Somebody said they were an overloader. Write your talk and then cut it in half. Better yet, come to the event. I will show you how to write a talk that sells, not one that gets paid by hugs. Oh, RJ, I was a millionaire if you counted my bank account of hugs. I got so many hugs from speaking in corporate America and in every other setting. Don't get paid by hugs, but also have some credit cards flying at you. So I can go on for days on speaking mistakes. Most of it is we apologize for our brilliance and we don't stand on our expertise. That is key. You've got to be the expert because this will help you all feel better. You only have to know 2% more than your audience. I cannot cite where that stat came from. Truth be told, I might have made it up to make me feel better. I'm like, do you know, here's how I used to start my talks. Like, and people never start with, hi, I'm Jane Powers. Thank you for having me. What that says is, ordinary speaker. Get on with something different. I would get on, I go, who here knows my second brother's middle name and birthday? No one. Who here knows the name of my first dog and what kind it was? No one. I feel so good because all I need to know is 2% more than you, and I have won that game already. The pressure is off. Now you're in for a really good workshop. And people loved it because it was so different, but it also helped me with confidence. So that 2%, I might have made it up. It can't be proven.
It can't be proven.
No reference point.
Well, and that's what I love about I'm a Jane student, man. You know what I am. And that's what I love about it is that it's not designed to look pretty and sound good, although it does. It's also we're working with the way the mind gets information, takes information in. And like that's I spend a lot of time thinking about that because that has a lot to do with how I present information in bots to people all the time because I want people to learn. The brain can only hold one thing at a time because if you don't believe me, try the patting your head and circle on the stomach and do all we like to fancy ourselves that we're multitasking all of the time. No, we're not. We're distracted. That's different. You want to lead people through a talk on what you want them to focus on, not be led by something that might happen in the audience or the feeling like, oh, I'm not landing enough. Well, let's go to this thing now. Let's go to plan B. Let's pull the parachute cord. There's no need for that actually. And that's something that I've, gleaned over time. Gleaned is a big word for the day. So, anyway, Jane, okay, we've talked away like 42 minutes. We need to get to we need to make some points. So everybody,
you mean all this time I've not been making any points?
No, but I want to get to the challenge. Yes. I want to get to that because that's very important stuff and it's time sensitive. So would you please tell us about the challenge that you are running next week?
Okay, so it is the Ditch Your Elevator Pitch 5-day challenge. How many days is it? 5. It's only 5. And every minute it'll take you at the most 5 minutes. Won't even take that long because I'm going to actually give you a head start. See, the way that I made it through school, I was an athlete and I didn't really focus well. So I always wanted to find the shortcut. So I am happy to give everybody shortcuts so that you can succeed. And RJ, don't let me forget to tell them about the grand prize opportunity because that is incredible. Okay, so the 5-day challenge starts on Monday, the 25th. You will get an email. It's going out midnight Eastern time, I think. So it will go out. It'll tell you one assignment a day. You're going to get a video a day. Empower Bot is going to visit you and say, hey, here's your homework. And here is your video for the day. You will be a member in a private Facebook group. Gosh, we have so many people in there. This is a place where you can get known, where you can get seen, where you can get sales. Nobody's selling in there, though. Nobody's going to be pitching to you. If they are, we get them out of there. What you're going to do, those are great places to find JV partners. You can go in there, make friends, hang out with everybody, and post your assignment. So here's what it's going to look like. Through the challenge, we are going to ditch your elevator pitch. You are going to get your very own unique intro, not info. That's what most people do. An INTROmercial. How do you introduce yourself in 17.5 seconds so people go, I know exactly what you do, and I want more of what you've got. So you are going to get step by step. Is it a template? Yes, it is absolutely a template. Are they all going to sound the same? No. You've heard RJ's, you've heard mine. The only part you'll hear, the word hire, the word because, and you do get to say, so I help. Those are the only common words you'll see in somebody else's intromercial. So during that time, every day you will have a quick and easy assignment. You must post those in the Facebook group. We're going to monitor. People that don't participate don't get an opportunity at the grand prize opportunity. We will do the 5-day challenge directly following the 5-day challenge. Write these dates down on 3/5 and 3/7. So March 3rd and 7, 5 and 7. I said 3rd. March 5th and 7th, 3:30 Mountain Time. I'm going to do 2 live calls. It's not going to be a PowerPoint presentation where I'm going to show you all the wonderful things about what you can buy. What you're going to get is me live. I do a Zoom call. I don't do webinar because for me, I am a connector. I want to see what's happening with people. I want to be able to answer questions. You guys will raise your hand. I'm going to look at your lovely faces and we're going to get your intromercial polished up. You have 2 chances to be on a call with me for free. It's free. Like, seriously. So then during that week, there's a grand prize contest going on. What that means is anyone that posts the most creative, outrageous delivery of your intromercial on video, you have the opportunity to win a grand prize. The grand prize is time main stage at my 3-day event. 3-day event, May 16, 17, and 18. You can go to letstalkimpact.com. You can check it out. What'll happen? We're going to vote. Oh, I'm giving 2 of those away because I have a tendency to be an overgiver. I'm an overloader. There is no doubt about it. I'm an overloader like nobody's business. So I was on a Facebook Live and I'm going on and on. I'm like, and we're going to give away 2. Crap. I think I just said 2. That's 2. What you get is time on my stage to deliver your intromercial, and I'm giving a booth away too. You set up a table. We average about 125 to 200 people at the events. So not a bad deal. RJ's going to be there. I'm going to be there. Pretty sure I'm going to be there. Unless it's boring, then I'm out of there. So the challenge, opt in. RJ's got the Empower bot. Did you put the link up there? I hope you have it.
Oh yeah. I absolutely. I have.
Denise can put it too, I think. But
yeah, I might need
all
Denise
you
to
have
help.
to do, click. It'll take you and say, hey, join the Facebook group. Hey, here's Empower bot telling you what to do. And you will be in the mix. Make sure you participate because I'm going to tell you, it's about anywhere from 15 for 5 minutes on stages, pay to play stages. If people have done it, it's anywhere from $1,500 to $7,500 for 5 minutes. I think I paid my first stage. Wasn't the smartest investment, but I did recoup a little bit beyond the investment price. $17,500 on Marcia Weider's stage, 800 people in the audience, couldn't sell, couldn't talk about my business. That's another area that I got really smart about how to talk about my business if she asked me an unrelated question to my business. So in the challenge, you're going to get your intromercial. You will get how to deliver it, where to deliver it. What I call it my door opener. The intromercial opens the door, your talk holds the door open, your call to action closes the door. So it is going to get you booked to speak on podcasts, get you into sales presentations. Now, keep in mind, I use this when I go and sell corporate. Like I'll go and corporations hire me, and then I go into what my intromercial is. So it'll be sexy. It'll be fun. Here's what you want to do to get ready. For those of you who are going to jump in, know who you work with. Come up with the holy grail, the best thing you possibly can benefit from working with you. For example, people work with me. What happens is the greatest benefit is they speak with confidence and they sell with authority. Happens to be the title of my book as well. Go on Amazon. But it is the ultimate. When I say that, all I say is speak with confidence, sell with authority. People go, I need her. I can't speak, or I'm okay at it, and I can't sell. Because people hate to do 2 things, speak and sell. Like, that's the biggest key. So you'll walk away with your intromercial. So know who you work with, the holy grail, pain points. Just list a bazillion pain points, your ideal client experiences, and then benefits. And I'm going to take those. I'm like the Rain Man. You throw a bunch of words at me, in my brain, they go into this formula and come out this sexy intromercial. Now, I will apologize in advance. Mine is 17.5 seconds. Yours might be 27.5 seconds, but we will shorten it. Trust me on this. This is my parlor trick. This is my Rain Man gift from God. I don't know how it happens, but it happens.
Well, it's true that what you just talked about, the fact that it you make those lists, and then it goes through a filtration process. It goes through gosh, that word is funny, or this phrase needs to be replaced because it's just not all that awesome. But as you kind of go through those iterations, eventually you come out the other side. And because I went to Jane's event in September, what I saw was people, coming out the other end of it, and they would just throw Jane, all of these phrases, and she would go, in her way. She'd go, and she'd go, how about this? And it was a place where we got to iterate our stuff and work with it on the fly and stand up and say it, to people. That was a powerful moment too, when I went to when I went to that thing, because so there's a lot going on at Jane's conference. And I had been off to see, like, there's this coaching zone and stuff like that. So I'd been off to see somebody and talk to her about my business a little bit. And then I came back, and we were in these groups, and we were supposed to say our intromercial. And I was like, well, I really didn't have very much. I maybe had entrepreneurs hire me. That's what I maybe had. But since it was time to get on my feet with it, no bullshit, we need to move on this thing, then I was able to stand up and deliver it. And it's not in the same version now, but the reaction that I got from that small group told me, bam, you're on the road to somewhere right now. And and so I can't get over how much that 17.5 seconds has changed the course of my career. I'm still working on bots, but the stuff that I'm doing now is so different than when I started out doing. The people I serve is so different than, what I started out doing. So I'm telling you, it's free. It's fabulous. Jane is wildly entertaining and cares whether you get it or not.
Yeah.
And so those are good reasons to hop over, join the challenge with us. Starts Monday. If you have a friend who is shy about introducing themselves, or has as much of a hard time as I did introducing themselves at networking meetings and podcasts and live events and everywhere else, drag a friend in with you. Don't do it alone. Make your friends come. That's what has happened to me too. So come join us. Come join us. Jane, last pearls of wisdom to distribute.
Let's see. I've been around a long time. I've been around. I've been up. I've been down. I've been in 20 million businesses. What has consistently has driven me, two things that has driven me to a 7-figure business. One, I said yes a million times. That's the truth of the matter. I say yes, and then I make my yes work. And a lot of people are afraid to take risks or gamble on themselves. And I feel I have a belief and have trained myself to believe. And I can complain and whine I'm telling you, like the best of them. But what I have is this core knowing that I've trained myself to believe that, God plays with loaded dice. And when I choose to do something and I say yes, I know the dice are loaded and I'm always going to win. And I may be noisy on my way to that win, like, wow, it's not happening for me. It's not happening fast enough. Why them and not me? Like, trust me, everybody's like, well, you have such confidence. Yeah and no. So no matter what, say yes. And do it afraid or do it with doubt, but come out swinging. Come out swinging. Fight till you win. And a lot of people don't have the tenacity. Last night was not a good night for me. There's so many things going on. The challenge is coming. And I sat down and I'm like, I don't know. I think I'm running out of steam. I never have run out of steam my whole life. And that is just a little reptilian part of my brain saying that. It's never true. Never true. So say yes a million times. The second thing, my when you lay me to rest my final time, when it is my time to go, I want people to say she was always true to who she is. I want people to say authenticity was her top value, and what you see is what you get. And there is nothing better than being you. So who you are, this intromercial, the talk, your bot, anything you do, be so you that you love watching you. Like you're like, God, I'm a good person. That's what you want to do. Always be you and use your voice. Your voice is your power. Most, and women, I hate to say this, most women dummy down. We take the back seat. And I'll tell you, in 1980 something, I grew up in a complicated family. I'm sure everybody else did as well. I went on the Oprah Winfrey show and told my truth. And I'll tell you, from that day forward, I will never, never not tell the truth of who I am. And I want that for everybody who is on here, whether you join us for the event, join us for the challenge, join us for whether you go and get a job, it doesn't matter. Woo, that's a swear word. No matter what you do, be so true to you, speak your truth, and always stand tall in who you are. That would be my, above all else, money is not my motivator. What's my motivator is seeing me be true in the world and watch others evolve to that same truth.
Well said, darling. I don't know if I can follow that. Damn it, that's always the thing with doing this interview with Jane, is that like, ooh, most of the time I can follow people. Anyway,
that always does it right there. Anyway, that capitalizes everything.
I know. Well, I deeply want to thank you for coming on and just talking to the folks. I would love to, challenge or not, events or not, just have you on, just to be a part of the community, because I know that a lot of people struggle with these issues, and I know that a lot of people, want to be speakers out there or are developing that career. So there's lots of need for you in my community, and there's lots of love, and so I just don't even know what to say. So kids, if you feel in a pull, hop on over, join us, because you love us. You'll get a whole lot more of us right there, and you'll get a really, really fabulous spot. Learn how to do your intromercial, develop that thing, and benefit from some of the knowledge that this one is given away for free. Now, darlings, type live if you never want to miss another episode of the Bot Signal, and I know you don't, because you got all this. And I'm gonna be gone next week. I'm gonna be with this one. Wait, she's over here. I'm gonna be with her in Tennessee, JVologing it with Jay Fazette and all of the family and the gang. So I won't be here, but I'll be here in your hearts. And I'll return the next week, the first week in March, with a couple of brand new shows and some brand new folks to meet potentially, and some brand new bot madness. So darlings, that is it for today. And I will see you in a bot.